Good morning, y'all. Welcome to Old Dog Woodshop. Lady up the road, I've built a few things for her. Got a hold of me the other day and said she wanted to get her a dang squirrel feeder, the shape of a picnic table, and asked me if I could build her one. Well, I went ahead and put together this one, which is your basic picnic table squirrel feeder. And I decided today that I'm going to build one and add a little difference to it, make it sort of unique. So what I'll do, I know all the sewing process everybody uses. You got your table saw, you got your miter saw, and all that. And that gets a little boring to go through occasionally. So I went ahead off camera, and I went ahead and cut all the parts necessary to build my version of this squirrel picnic table. What I'm going to do next is I'll go through them parts, let you know what they are, measurements and all that. So I got the list of measurements here on this pad of paper. Didn't do no drawing this time, just a measurement. And then we'll go through the assembly process on this new version squirrel picnic table. So I got all my parts laid out. Here's the picnic table, the one I built. Let me go through the parts list of what we need to build the new version. Gonna start out with your backing board. This is this piece here that holds the picnic table, and you can mount it to the tree. This piece is normally 12 inches long. This time this is going to be a standard fence picket wide, no trimming on the sides, but it's going to be 20 inches long. Start out now, we got 4 legs. These legs are cut at 22 and a half on either end, parallel angles, and they are 6 3/4 inches long from point to point. Next thing we got here is your seat supports. These are 2 pieces, 1 inch by 10 and a half inches long. Got your top supports for your tabletop, 6 inches by 1 inch. These are all the same thickness as the fence picket, so whatever the fence picket is, usually 5/8. And what I normally do is plane one side down, but these are leftover parts and pieces from the previous build. Your tabletop, you got 5 pieces that are 1 inch by 10 inches long. And then your seats, you got 2 seats that are 1.5 by 10 inches long. Most picnic tables have 2 boards on the seat. This is for a squirrel. We're going to put 1 board on it. In addition to that, I got an additional piece of fence picket, which is 5.5 by 12 inches long. This is going to go to the top, which you'll see will be shade for the squirrel while he's eating. Of course, then I got 2 pieces that are 3.5 inches long, point to point, cut on a 45-degree angle on each end. And that's to help support the top to keep it from falling down. You'll see that when we get ready to assemble this process. And of course, to put my leg assemblies together, I built a jig. That way I can get my leg assemblies together, no problem. An additional parts that you will need to complete this project, you'll need a hinge, and I found a piece of piano hinge that I'm going to use, and this will mount 1 board to the top. You need some hinge screws, and of course you need a screw to go up through the center of your picnic table to hold your corn cob. During this assembly process, I'll be using the staple gun, 1 inch staples, and Type Bond 3 wood glue. Type Bond 3 is waterproof, water resistant wood glue. It's going to be outside, and it's the best glue to use for outside purposes. First thing on the assembly process is we're going to assemble the legs, and I'm going to reposition everything so we can get a better look at all that. Alright, we'll start this build process building our leg assemblies. First thing you'll do is you get your two pieces leg, slide them in here, butt them up. I got the center line up here at the top. I marked the center line on my tabletop support pieces as well as my seat support pieces. Go ahead and throw a bead of glue on here at the top. Every once in a while, like I say, you'll hear a vehicle go by. I'm right next to the dang road. Line up your center marks, make sure it's square. I'm going to throw a staple in it. I always put two staples, makes it a little bit easier. Down here on the bracket, or on the jig, I got a line across here. That's where your leg assembly, or your seat assembly piece is going. Seat support bracket. Line it up, which equals the distance on either side here. We'll put a little mark down here where we're going to put our glue. Throw us a bead of glue down there. Set your seat support in, set it up. Throw you a couple of staples in it. You notice it cocked over a little bit. You got to watch that. It'll get carried away sometime. We need two leg assemblies. So that takes care of the first one. And I'll build another one just like that. Same process. There's different shades in the cedar fence pickets. Like I say, we're using the scrap pickets. Throw some bead of glue. Center it up. Make sure it's straight. Throw you a couple of staples in there. Hold her in place. Oh, watch your fingers. I've had a 16 penny nail shot through my finger a long time ago. I was helping my brother do a little remodeling on his house. And we were nailing the frame together. He was running the nail device and missed and shot that nail right through my dang finger. So I went to the emergency room. I guess I could have pulled it out with a claw hammer. But went to the emergency room, walked in there, and got up to the counter, and I asked the lady if she could take care of this hangnail I got, and throwed it up there on the counter, and damn, she didn't like to faint. Alright, so I got two leg assemblies built. What we'll do now is we'll get them where they'll stand up. I'll put a clamp on the bottom of each one of them to help it stand up, and then we'll assemble the top, or the tabletop itself. And if this dang remote, what I'll do is I'll throw me a clamp on there, and that'll help hold my legs up straight, or close to being straight. We're going to put the center table piece in first. Now one side of this, if you'll notice, it's going to be flush with your leg assembly. That's this back side. Will be flush with your leg assembly. And the reason being, that's where you're going to mount it to the board, which goes to the tree. So we'll line this up. I got my center marks made. Line it up here. Put me a little bit of glue right in there. Center it up. Make sure it's square across the end, and go ahead and throw a staple in it. What we'll do now is we're going to have an overhang of about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch. Let me check the original table. So it appears it's got a 1-inch overhang on the table itself. So we'll move this other leg in 1 inch. Get her set, and then I'm going to lay me a bead of glue down there. Eyeball from the end. Get down here and eyeball center of your top piece. Nothing's ever perfect when you're building things. Just want to make sure it's square. Throw your measurement on there. Get your measurement to 1 inch or whatever your measurement overhang you want to be. That's 1 inch. Make sure you're still on center with all that moving. One-inch overhang, center. Make sure you're square and throw your staple in there. Now what we'll do with the remaining top slats is we'll eyeball a small gap in there. Making sure they're flush on this end. The outer top piece will be flush with the ends of your top bracket. So go ahead and put a bead of glue there. Make sure it's flush on this end. Throw your staple in it. Now what you got to do down here is you're going to make sure it's flush on the end. And also you need to make sure you got your 1 inch gap on the outside overhang. That'll keep it square. Once you get that established, go ahead and throw a staple in it. Do the same thing on this other side right here. Throw your bead of glue, flush on this end. Throw your staple in it. Down on this end, make sure you square it off. 1 inch, thereabouts. And you're going to throw your staple in. Other two brackets, what you'll do is just center them up, eyeball the gap, put your bead of glue in there. Still make sure that you're flush on the back. Throw your staple down there. Do the same thing on the other one. Get it set, throw a staple. And that's your top assembly. Next thing we need to do, we can go ahead and take these clamps off. We're going to put the seats on. The seats are going to go here. Same process. Take your seat piece, making sure the seat is flush with the end of your seat assembly bar, seat cross brace, down there and put a staple in it. Down here on the other end, check your measurement. You still want 1 inch, the same as the top, but also make it flush on this side. Throw your staple in. Do the same thing on the other side. Once you get your seat assembly on both sides, what I like to do is go ahead and measure down in the center of the center top bracket. Mark your mark there, center it up. So you go down 5 inches and then a ½ inch in center. And take your drill motor and drill your hole down through here. So that way, after you get everything assembled, you can put your screw in there to hold the corn cob on there. Next thing what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mount it to our top bracket. Top bracket, you got one end that's flush with the leg assembly. That's the side that you're going to mount your top bracket to. So it'll kind of sit on there like that right there. And then the other piece we're going to put in is going to go up here at the top. Okay? So I want to have us a gap in between that top piece and the bottom. Going to be about 11.5, 12 inches. Give you plenty of room for your corn cob. So I line this up with the bottom. We'll mark center of our picket. Picket's 5.5 inches. Center at 5.5 is 2 3/4. That'll be the center of your picket. And you can mark the center of this top. Mark the center of this top table flat. And we'll line that up with that center of the picket bracket down there. And make it flush with the bottom of that board. Okay? So what I like to do is draw a little line down here on the bottom. Turn around where y'all can see a little bit. I'll draw me a line right here. That'll give me an idea where I'm going to put my glue. We'll go ahead and glue this assembly to the back piece. Got it on the bottom. That was stupid. That's what happens when you don't pay attention to what the hell you're doing. You put the glue in the wrong spot. Everybody makes mistakes. I put the glue on the wrong side today. I'm lying what I did. Glue goes on the top and down here at the bottom. You know, nobody's perfect, I guess. Line up your center marks. Line up the bottom with this. Make sure it's square across the bottom. Center lined up. And we're going to put some staples in here to hold it in place. What I'll also do when I get this completely assembled is I'll come across here and I'll put a couple of screws in the top and one in the bottom to actually help strengthen the boards itself. Make it a little bit better. Now what we need to do is we're going to build the shade assembly to this picnic table. Okay? And the shade assembly is basically, nobody wants to sit out in the hot sun and chew on a corn cob, whether it be you or a squirrel. So what we're going to do is we'll put a shade assembly attached to this. That's where these 3/4 inch, 3.5 inch pieces come in. Okay? These are going to be mounted to the bottom, flush with the bottom. They'll be glued and stapled to your shade top assembly. You can do this two ways. Put glue on one side. Possibility these things may split, but let's hope not. Line it up about 1 inch from the outside. Coming from the back, or from the top, you put your staple. That staple and that glue should hold that in place plenty good enough. Want to do the same thing on the other side. About 1 inch from the outside. Throw you in a staple. Okay, that's going to mount right here. It's not going to be glued or stapled to the bottom. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a hinge and we'll add a hinge to the top. Right here. That way it'll hinge out of the way when you replace your corn cob on there. And we'll go ahead and get some screws. We'll attach that hinge and then we'll go from there. Being that we're close to the edge, we'll go ahead and drill us a pilot hole for these screws. Won't do it that damn way. Make sure the drill bit's straight. That's kind of straight. A hell of a wobbly hole drilling that way. Alright, I got my holes in there. Put some wood screws in there. Get me a driver. Standard issue Phillips screwdriver. Get them in there. Tell you what, let's do. Let's swap out that drill bit over here and we'll get us a screwdriver bit. Maybe. Hell, by the time I find the screwdriver bit, I could already have them in. Throw this in your drill motor. We'll do it this way. Damn, everything's damn crooked. Them screws are a tad bit longer than the picket, so I'll take a file and I'll knock that end off. And I need to do the same thing to the back assembly that we just did to the shade screen. Now I got the shade attached. I knocked off the points coming through from the screws. Got my hinge on top. When you stand it up, this hinge will stay. I'll stand it up and let y'all take a look at it. Give me a second. We'll readjust a little bit. Alright, here is the shade assembly for your picnic table. It may have could have been a little bit closer, but lift out of the way, put your corn cob on there, bring it back down. Plus also gives another spot for another squirrel to hang out while the other one's chowing down, in case you want to take your squirrel wife to dinner or something. What I'll do now is I'm going to put some screws in the back to help hold the picnic table to your back plate. I'll put 2 up here and 2 down the bottom. I've pre-drilled some holes and countersunk them. We'll just slap the screws in now. One on each side. These screws are going in through, actually all the way into the legs. That way they help hold everything together as well. Got that in there. I've also drilled 2 holes. One here, as well as one up here, to where you can mount it to the tree or to the fence post and everything else. So what I gotta do now, final thing is to put a screw in this center hole to where you're going to screw your corn cob to it. And that screw will feed up from the bottom. That shows the screw I put in. Now I added a little bit of wood glue because the screw threads do not go all the way up to the top, so it's still a little bit loose in there. So I added a little bit of wood glue to kind of help hold that in place. Alright, so there you go. Here's the original version of that squirrel picnic table. And here's the new upgraded version. Basically, I just added the longer back in a spot to keep the shade on the squirrel while he's sitting down there chewing on the nut. So, or not a nut. He can't screw a nut on there. Chewing on the cob of corn. Now, I appreciate y'all watching these videos that I put out there. It gives me something to do in my retirement time. Once you get done watching these videos, if you go ahead and hit the like button, make a comment, and subscribe to the channel, it'll kind of help things go along. It doesn't cost you anything to do all that. Just a couple clicks of your mouse. You click that subscribe button, you can see any future videos. They'll pop up there and let you know they're in there. So once again, I appreciate y'all watching these videos. We're here in Tennessee, so it's fixing to get hotter than fire out there. So that said, y'all be safe and stay cool out there. Until next time, we'll see y'all.